Hello. There's been so many examples of pain in the last few weeks, and actually, it's every day, of course. But this is more in regards to chronic pain. So not the I fell down the stairs, or I got in a car accident, or something landed on me. Say I've been struggling with chronic pain for years. For 2 years, for 10 years, for 40 years. Pain is stored in the brain, stored in the limbic system, and once anything is stored in the brain, that's how our environment perceives it to be. So many people will say, well, why, from a chiropractic perspective, why does this, sorry, my phone keeps beeping. Why does it change how I feel? Physically, mentally, emotionally. Our brain stores experiences, which is why I so frequently talk about past trauma or past experiences and how now they're responding to the past environment. And so, first things first, in a person suffering from chronic pain, chronic disease, it is to change the physical environment, change the physical part of your body, the spine. That sends messages back up to the brain that decreases that fight or flight response. It dials down the response. So the environment isn't triggering you all the time. So, and I really thought about this yesterday when I was doing a podcast interview. We were talking about pain and how it's stored in the brain and limbic system, and she said, think of somebody with one limb, one leg, and they continue to have pain in that other leg, the leg without the physical limb, the phantom pain. That is because pain is stored in the brain. The receptors are in the brain. They're not in the leg. That's the end of that nerve, that sensory nerve. So many people, before they get adjusted, doc, I have a headache, or, man, I have did it. I'm suffering from so much of this. The first goal is to get the spine to move so the brain can fire. That's it. To get mobility back in the spine. Frankly, adding anything extra for somebody who's been suffering with chronic pain is too much. And so, as the brain starts to respond differently, it starts to dial down the fight or flight response, the parasympathetic system starts to take over a little bit more, then we can add in more. We can look at some of the emotions that are the triggers. Therapy, it may be massage, it may be nutrition, it may be starting to move, but first and foremost in the beginning, it's not that. That is too much for the brain to handle. It will overload it. So, understanding that with chronic pain, chronic disease, it's all stored up in the brain. And that is why the work I do in chiropractic, the work all the chiropractors do that are focused on life, is so monumental, because that's when they will say, oh my gosh, this and this and this miracle, right? I don't have reflux anymore. I'm off 8 medications. I can exercise and move now. I'm not depressed. I'm not suicidal. Because first we started with the spine, and it was very simple to get the brain to dial down. Then you start feeling things, right? We start to take the protection off. That person doesn't feel as numb, doesn't feel like they're hiding as much, doesn't respond as much from triggers. That is normal under chiropractic care. So for anyone suffering chronically, chronic pain, chronic disease, which usually always includes some kind of chronic pain, find a family chiropractor, find a chiropractor, I shall say, focused on life, focused on improving how your body's working so that your life is better and it's more aligned to who you really are and who you're truly meant to be. Thanks, guys. Have an awesome day.